Today we are joined by Dr. David Munyae, Professor of Political Science and International Relations at the University of Johannesburg. He's going to be talking to us about why these countries, all of these countries, are trying so hard to join Brics.
For me, I think the major reason has to do with unhappiness of these countries with the current global order, the lack of transformation of United Nations and all its agencies, the lack of understanding in terms of equity between the developed countries and developing, the lack of empathy when faced with pandemics, the use of or weaponization of the dollar, and sanctions that are applied on countries. This is a revolt against hegemonic power of the West. And I think these countries think that their countries will benefit more if they're members of Brics. Brics, what it will bring to them is the strengthening of their voice in demanding the change that most of this country has been demanding since 1945. It's going to be a bit problematic because at the moment there is no criteria. However, I think it's just a question why more countries are coming and what kind of transformation we want to see. And therefore, for Brics to gain legitimacy, it has to be a people-centered Brics. It has to be democratic. It cannot be a Brics of elite countries within the global south. It has to ensure that there's representation of countries from all regions and grow. Because in the 50s and 60s and 70s, we had the Group of 77 plus China. We also had the non-alignment movement. These bodies are not working, and therefore I think the global south requires a much more stronger voice. And therefore I think Brics could be that voice where the issues and demands and the aspiration of people in the global south could be exerted at a global level, particularly concerning issues of war, whether it's Ukraine, Russia, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, and Yemen, and a number of other disturbances that are taking place in the world. Therefore, I think a united global south will be able to answer some of the challenges that the world faces today.
There is a lot of talk about the Brics currency beyond the domination of the dollar. What do you think, or how will be this advantageous to the Brics countries?
I'm not expecting a Brics currency. However, I'm expecting a strengthening of trade in local currencies among Brics countries. I think that is going to receive much more attention. I'm also expecting increased understanding and the need to build common Brics voice. And I'm excited with your own channel, one of the best, excellent way to ensure that you help these countries to have a voice that is truly global south. And therefore, I congratulate you in this initiative. But we also see the thinking around issues of global food security, issues of health. There's going to be more talk, particularly on new issues of technology and things like that. This understanding, and it really depends which Brics countries are going to increase. For instance, there's a golden opportunity for South Africa to open up more visitors coming from Brazil, from India, from China and Russia. And you can already see some of the countries that want to join Brics are already easing their visa restrictions on South Africa, e-visa. For instance, Saudi Arabia has opened up, wants to have e-visa with South Africa. This is a new question. So for South Africa, it's a question, what advantages can it take? I think the similar question can be posed to Brazil, to India, Russia, and to China. What advantages do you take in more and more of these countries? Also, what advantage are you taking if you're going to trade, particularly when you're buying oil And bulk of these new members are oil-producing countries, and therefore I think we're going to see more economic activities taking place. There will be a bit of a fair, non-restrictive way of trading, fairness in the trade. If you buy directly with a country such as China, not using the dollar, the challenge with the dollar is that the more you have debt in dollar, a case of Argentina. Argentina had this crisis that your debt is in dollar, and the day that the dollar appreciates, it tinkers the entire economy. So you have an economy, a debt of 10 billion, and overnight the dollar gains, and you end up having 50 billion, 100 billion overnight. It fluctuates. So that's a danger for all Brics countries, and why therefore there is a need to trade in local currencies, because some of these currencies are run by countries that are prudent in how they manage the economy, unlike United States that is more increasingly behaving in an unfair way. And therefore I think, yes, indeed, there will be an advantage of trading in local currencies.